Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's featured Reddit stories are from Am I the A-Hole? Story 1 today is by William Wirt. Am I the a-hole for expressing my disgust at a dish from my girlfriend's culture? So I'm a 27 male, my girlfriend, who's 24, is Brazilian, and since we got together, she's been introducing me to her country's cuisine, and I've loved everything she's made and I've tried so far. But last night she took me to a Brazilian steakhouse, and at some point she asked the waiter for a dish they didn't serve here but apparently is a staple in Brazilian barbecues. It was only later she explained to me that she was asking for chicken hearts. And because they didn't have it later, she told me she would try to find it in the Brazilian store she usually goes to and make it at home, but I told her not to bother and that I wasn't interested in trying it. She couldn't understand why I wasn't interested, so I told her the whole idea of eating chicken hearts sounded a little bit icky. That's the word I remember saying. She later said I told her it was disgusting, so I can't be sure, but the intention is the same anyway. And she got really upset and told me about how eating organs isn't unusual in many cultures, and that even if I didn't want to try it, framing it as disgusting was disrespectful on my part. But I only said anything because she kept pushing for an explanation, so I don't know what she expected me to do. To lie? There are so many cultures around the world that even look at American culture, and a lot of them say that even eating the bodies of animals, any part of the body at all, is icky or disgusting. And you don't have to eat anything you don't feel like eating, but if she is looking for this special dish that she made from home and you've liked everything that you've tried that she's made so far, you might actually really like this. So no, you do not have to eat everything that somebody presents to you, but there is a high chance that she knows what your tastes are and that's why she wants you to try it. And honestly, I don't see why we are so much more disgusted at eating the muscle or flesh of a chicken, but we can't eat the heart. That seems like such a strange thing to me, but I would probably be a little wary of wanting to try chicken hearts myself. Like, that's not something that I would actively go out and be like, yeah, let's have some chicken hearts today. But if I grew up eating it and it was one of my favorite dishes, I might. But no, you're not the a-hole for turning it down. And she's not really an a-hole for getting so offended that you called it disgusting, because it's probably the first bit of food that she's offered to you to make for you, and the first one you refused. But I really doubt this will cause a big rift between the two of you. It's just cultural preferences, really. Our next story is by Gin Jocket. Am I the a-hole for starting a fake rumor to catch a gossiper? I work with a woman, let's call her Shelley, who is always spreading gossip, most of which is told to her in confidence. She boasts how she can get information out of anyone. So I thought I would let it backfire on her. One Friday night at the pub early on, I told her I had a secret about one of our coworkers, a quiet, awkward, nerdy type who manages the IT network. He's probably on the spectrum, but we won't go into that. Let's call him Richard. She begged me to tell her his secret. I insisted she would have to promise to tell no one else under any circumstances, that he told me in strictest confidence and would never forgive me. Of course, she promised. I told her Richard had won more than $10 million in a lottery and was intent on continuing to work and keeping it private. I said if she told anyone, he would have to quit work. He loved his job and didn't do it for the money. She said his secret was safe with her. During the course of the evening, I watched her flit around the crowd, leaning in to whisper her treasure and enjoying the astonishment that accompanied the reveal. I watched Richard become popular and even attracting an abnormal level of female attention. At the end of the evening, Richard went home with one of the women from the office. A first. After sleeping with her, she admitted she knew about his lottery win, to which he laughed and asked who told her that nonsense. About an hour later, on Saturday morning, I got a phone call from Shelley, furious that I had deceived her and made a fool of her in front of the entire office. She didn't know how she was going to be able to face work on Monday. I said she only had herself to blame. I told her not to tell anyone, and she told everyone. So now she's threatening to take me to HR for spreading a malicious rumor with the intention of ostracizing her at work, jeopardizing her job. I said, be my guest. So am I the a-hole for setting her up with a lie, or is she for betraying my trust? I didn't read any of the comments on this, but I'm willing to bet most people say everyone sucks here. Because, for one, Yes, she's terrible for betraying your trust and spreading gossip, which is not a nice thing to do, and now threatening you. But you're an a-hole too, and not to her, but to Richard. Richard is a quiet, nerdy type. Maybe he wanted that sort of thing to happen, but it would have been far better if you went to Richard and told him of what rumor you were spreading, so that he was kind of prepared for it and didn't think that maybe these women that came on to him at the office were not interested in him, but interested in his money, because that would suck to find out. So I would say you're an a-hole too, just not to Shelley. You have to keep in mind that a lot of people that are socially introverted or they're quiet, nerdy types don't want to become the center of attention. Just keep that in mind next time you want to spread a rumor that involves somebody with that quiet personality. Unless you guys are in on it together, I wouldn't do it to somebody who is a shy person. Our last story today is by Afraid Mammoth 5574. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? For context, I have been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, who's 28, stepkid number 1, Ben, who's 26, stepkid number 2, Charles, who's 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée, Alice, who's 27. We've all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles in the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping and that we planned to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress and me a stepmom of the groom dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting Mom to wear, a suit?" Alice responded with, "My name," meaning the OP, "isn't going." You know we are keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends. What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. Why? Adam said it's because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out given I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute, just effing shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me to ask if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyways, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try to smooth things over. He was still adamant that I'm not invited and it's their wedding. He also requested I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him tough crap. It's their wedding, they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking WTF I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the a-hole? At face value, I'm going to say absolutely not, and Adam should be ashamed of himself. But without further information or having been in the family, I can't be sure if you are a step monster. This is very limited information, and it really makes Adam seem like the jerk here. Did he ever show resentment prior to this? Because this is definitely big resentment in a big way. To me, though, there's got to be something else going on that makes him not want you to go. But like I said, at face value, this just doesn't sound like that's the case. He should be ashamed of himself. And I can guarantee you Alice was in his ear about not inviting you too. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have a perfect day.